All right, Eric, this is when we talk. We are back. Do that but better. I'm Zach.
I'm Eric.
Eric, I got a question for you today.
Okay, lay it on me.
How often do you work out in a gym?
Well, in my garage gym, I'd say like a planned, laid out, progressive workout 3 days a week.
Okay. And why?
That's the program that I'm on right now.
All right.
Although I'll say there are four programmed workouts a week. One of them is sprinting,
Ooh,
so I don't do that in the garage.
that's pretty awesome. Wait.
Mhm.
Oh, you said you don't do that in the garage. I was like, wait a minute. How do you sprint in the garage? You're the worst sprinter ever.
Get point A to point B very quickly.
That's awesome. Uh, well, yeah. So now, how often did you used to work out?
There was a time where I would work out. Well, so when I started following CrossFit.com, I just followed the program, right? Three
Yeah.
days on, 1 day off,
Right.
as much as possible.
So like 5 to 6 days a week.
Yeah, gets shifted around weird. And then for a while, when I was like, I'm going to compete, I was in there like at least 5 days a week. Um, and then I started to realize that I was not feeling great. I was very beat up. And
Yeah.
now I'm at a point where, like, the program I'm following is 3 lifting days with that 1 day of sprints and making gains. It works well.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing now.
Yeah. And so the reason I ask you is I think that we put a lot of emphasis on exercise and the 1 hour, even
Hmm.
even if it's 6 days a week, right? 6 days a week, you did 1 hour, or if you're doing 2 days, now you got 12 hours a week, and it's such a small amount of time in your week, in your day,
Totally.
and what in the world am I doing it for?
Especially when you think, like, if you're going into a CrossFit gym, you're showing up, you're doing 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes of warm up and like focus on movement technique, and then maybe your workout is 5 minutes, ten
Yeah,
minutes, like of intense work, and then cool down stretch. Like, how much actual time did you just spend? I see this when I'm like calculating macros,
yeah,
the activity multiplier,
hmm
and people, it's like usually when people estimate theirs, I'm like, let's look at what you're actually doing. How much of this was warm up? How much of this is actual intense exercise? How much is moderate, like going for a jog, steady? Because we aren't very good at regular or at estimating that for
yeah,
ourselves.
yeah. And I feel like with this exercise, there's usually a ulterior motive, right? It's not just to exercise. Now, definitely, I love to exercise. If I don't feel good if I'm not doing something, even if it's going for a walk. On Sundays, Natalie and I go for a walk, and it just makes you feel a little bit better. But there's always that reason, like whether you're trying to get stronger, whether you're trying to be faster. But I feel like lots of times we have this idea that the gym, being good at the gym, especially in CrossFit, because you're recording your time, because you're recording your reps, you're like, all right, I need to get in there to do this thing so I can do this thing better.
Hmm.
And it's like, wait a minute, what are you trying to do better? And
Right.
usually that comes into something else outside the gym. And we spend so much time worrying about what we're doing at the gym, we forget that, hey, we're trying to do these things outside the gym so much better.
Hmm. Yeah, like we're looking for the translation
Yes.
of this stuff that I'm training in the gym translating to everything else.
Yep. Yeah. And yeah, I feel like trying to decide that on the front end, like what am I trying to be better at? And when you start thinking about exercise, that's one of the reasons that I totally fell in love with CrossFit. I was doing the squat, bench, deadlift, and going out for a 30-minute walk because you didn't want to ruin your gains. And it was like, all right, what are these gains for? And especially at the time, what I want. So beyond vanity and ego, there was also I was a fireman, and you are expected, whether it's by the department, your peers, or the community, that you should be like a superhero. You should be strong. You should be like they can do anything. And I didn't always feel that way. Actually, I don't know if you remember this. Well, you remember when we went to Montana and we went backpacking, and I thought that I was super strong. I was like, oh, this is going to be cakewalk. And we went and we found that cave.
Hmm.
And we're going into the cave. So not only was I like, did I start cramping up the one time, like while we're walking, like my legs were cramping. I'm like, dang it. I'm like, I'm the weak link. And I got my little brothers here. And I'm like, dang. But then um, we went to that cave, and Phil hops in. See you later, you guys. Come on in, Shane. Um, no, you didn't even get in. Get in here. There you go. But we started going into the cave, and everybody's in. See you later. And they so you sort of went in, and then it was almost like you went up.
Yeah.
And I was like 225 pounds, so I was about 100 pounds more than you guys.
Yep.
And I was like, that was the first time I've ever felt claustrophobic. And like I was going in, and you're in like this, and I'm like, I'm getting stuck. And if I get stuck, you guys can't get out to even go get help. And that was a huge eye opener for me, that what I was doing was not helping me do the things I wanted to do. We had been planning that trip for a long time. So, I mean, I probably did that 4 years before with my buddies. And I was like, all right, when you guys are both 16, we can go do it. And it's just so we could drive, all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden I was like, what the crap? And this was one like big motivation. I was starting to think, why can't I do these things? Why don't I feel as athletic as I used to, even though I was working out?
Hmm.
And when I found CrossFit, even just in the methodology, the idea to just be able to do more work across all domains, so have endurance, have agility, have balance. And all of a sudden it was like, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Get out and
Yeah.
play. Go out and learn new sports, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's where finding the balance, because like, in CrossFit, you do powerlifting and you do squat and bench and deadlift, just not to the degree of like if you are competing in powerlifting, right? And in your defense, that cave was, I was 150 pounds and it was tight. We were face flat on the ground, like scooting through underneath that, like through rat crap everywhere. That was as tight as it could have gotten.
And those are the things that I want to do with my fitness.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I'll tell you what. I mean, there was no excuse for me not to be able to do something like that. Especially, yeah, just with the amount of things that I would do. It was like, yeah, I played sports. I thought I was very well. I thought I was fit, even though like I was. Yeah, I was overweight and stuff like that. But I could still do a ton of crap.
Hmm. But yeah, I do remember like even more because I mean that was size dependent.
Right.
But I do remember that one really long day we had,
Hmm.
and we had to go like over a pass and down and then back up to where the campsite was.
Yeah.
And it was just stairs for I don't know how long, but
Yeah.
it was a long time. And
Yep.
yeah, I remember like we were running out of water.
Yeah. We couldn't find a water spot.
Cliff, yeah. And yeah, that was rough. And I remember the struggle. The struggle you were
And now here's the thing, like when it comes to exercise, I feel like the activities that you do outside of the gym are your test. And one of the things that I think that is great about doing CrossFit, because it is so broad, we're doing all kinds of weird crap. You know, we're doing handstands, we're doing snatches, you're doing pull-ups, you're climbing ropes. And it's not like I'm necessarily going out to do a hike. I'm not doing, I'm not necessarily playing basketball, but I'm able to find the ability to do these things. I'm not in the first 3 minutes with my hands on my knees and my kids are laughing at me, right? Like, why does daddy suck, right? And like now, I might not be a good basketball player, but at least I can keep going, right?
fitness is what does it say? Like fitness is like 80% of sport.
Yeah,
The other 20% is the skill. So if you've got the fitness, you're already 80% effective in just about any sport.
yeah. And
I, 2 weeks ago, I went and subbed for 2 soccer games in a row, which I have not played outdoor soccer since college. And I
yeah,
haven't played any soccer against an adult since Chelsea was born. So over 3 years.
yeah,
And I wasn't out of breath. Like I kept up with everyone and I
yep.
still had a touch.
Well, and I feel like that's why fitness is so important. It's not so that necessarily like the number on the bar. Although, guess what? My ego is there, and yeah, I want to see these things going up in the gym also. But really, the things in the gym are less about improving this, unless you're in a competitive sport that you need these certain numbers. But now we take that out, and yeah, can I play soccer? And when we're doing, especially with CrossFit, you've got things that are going to teach you just to pace, how to work for a long period of time, how to really push hard. You know, we just did some sled pushes the other day, right? And so we're loading weight, and I had somebody who wanted to put a 10-pound weight on the sled after they just pushed it. And I'm like, not a chance. Minimum 35s. Number one, because that's the only thing that good 35s are good for, loading up sleds. But also because there's certain things like that where you're just doing work, and it's not about 5 pounds. If it's a deadlift and you just did close to max deadlift, there's a lot of technique and all this kind of stuff. But you can put on a lot. And strangely enough, they ended up doing multiple after that. And so adding at least 70 pounds onto their sled push. And it's like you saw what hard was, and then you got to see what was also hard.
Yeah. You start to actually recognize, they talk about like perceived effort.
Mm-hmm.
And if you only ever got to your actual 5, then you think that is your 10.
Right.
Right? And until you start loading some more stuff, some more weights on there, you aren't going to recognize what you're actually capable of, or what a perceived 5 versus a perceived effort of 10 actually is, until
Right.
you like load up that weight or go do Fran and do it hard. Like we talked about that the other day, of like scaling and adjusting it so that you actually hit the intended stimulus.
Right.
Then you start like, that's what the gym is for, is recognizing where is my line that I can push to, and where's that area where I can hang out at and I can pace and just keep going.
Yep. Yeah. Adapting to discomfort learning how to pace. And yeah, I mean, just think about in a soccer match, you can go all out on like a 100-meter sprint because or you can really learn, hey, this is my fast, and this I'm going to be able to play for 30 minutes. I'm going to be able to whatever I need to do, and
Right.
start learning how to do work better, which I think is so beneficial.
Yep. Yeah, that's a great point. Like if someone, I mean, this is getting into soccer, but if someone like drops a long pass, if there's someone else running to it, trying to beat me to it, I'm gonna run as fast as I need to beat them to it.
Right. Okay.
So if nobody's coming, like I can pace that run and get there while not going 100%. Now I could still like keep going.
Yeah,
Whereas if
you can sprint after that.
right,
Yep.
yeah, so like you learn the different gears, and it's not totally just like intellectual. Like I need to slow down now, but becoming intuitive in your body of like learning to do what needs to be done in the right context.
Right. Yeah, and when I think about the exercises that we do, we want to we want to see a transfer, and it's sort of funny because when you look at CrossFit, you're looking at handstand walking, you're looking at snatches and rope climbs, and you're like, I don't do those things. Like, when am I going to need to handstand walk? But the things that we're doing inside the gym, not only are they harder, hopefully, than what you're doing outside the gym. Actually, we just had somebody, I think it was Marquita, was talking about how I think she went for a bike ride, and people were like, "Whew," and she's like, "Dude, we do way harder than this in the gym." And it's not that she goes out and bike rides all the time; it's that she does hard work. She's yeah, she's running, she's biking, she's squatting, she's doing all these things that transferred over, and um, it it might not be a direct transfer, right? So just because I can handstand walk, it doesn't necessarily transfer over, but I do have balance. I
Yeah.
have coordination. If I'm doing a heavy snatch, so going overhead and then squatting with it, I have range of motion in my joints. I have strength in in that range of motion, right? I have all these things that are going to translate so that when I am trying to do work, I know that I can do it. I can coordinate my body to move well when I need to.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean it teaches you to get into and get comfortable in positions that you would not be forced into otherwise. Like I can't tell you how many times. I mean, how many times have you seen someone holding something, or even right now, got a baby, holding a baby, and they drop their pacifier on the floor, and you see people like bending super awkwardly at the hips and like twisting.
Yeah,
When like if you're used to doing a walking lunge, you can just go into a walking lunge and pick it up, and
right,
you didn't tip over and like flip the baby upside down, right? Like these things that you wouldn't think of otherwise,
right,
but now you've actually practiced getting down onto the ground while still upright, right? Like, and it takes a while to think about it and recognize, like, oh, this is actually useful. I can actually put this in practice in life.
right.
Even like you said, rope climbs. I think about like the girls climbing trees.
Hmm.
They're at the point now where like they want to hook their leg, and that is totally a rope climb.
Right.
Is pulling your feet up to your hands. So
Yep.
can you like flip up, or you go do an obstacle course race to get over a tall wall? You might have to throw your leg over, and again, like the toes to bar and rope climbs, you're
Yeah.
just learning right flexion, global flexion. Can you pull your knees and your feet up toward your upper body?
Yeah. Yep. And when you think of your activity as your daily activity, how many more hours are you doing any of these things outside of the gym than your 1 hour or 2 hours if you're crazy
Yep.
in the gym? And so
Dude,
now,
every time I go up the stairs,
mhm,
I think of it as step ups. Like I'm doing step ups onto a box.
Right.
Maybe, but that's that's how I think when I'm like doing anything.
Actually, just think about that. You've got your all right. So you've got a step up, which is probably only like what 8-10 inches, and most people are doing step ups on a 20-24 inch box. It's like make life hard so life is easy outside of the gym.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yeah, one of the things that I think that has been super beneficial is the community in the gym has, especially man, this summer has just exploded. I don't know if it was COVID or just everybody was ready to go and do stuff.
Hmm.
People are just on a whim going and do 40, 50-mile bikes and just going for long runs. They're doing all kinds of activities. Somebody was, they're doing more hiking. And I think that the benefit of the I can do this
Hmm.
is really where exercise comes into play. It lets you do all these other things that make your life great. Because when you're dead, yeah, you might have had a great time, especially if you're at CrossFit Chicago Heights. You're like, yeah, my best hours were spent at the gym. But for the most part, you're like, this helped me do these other things anytime I wanted. I never
Yep.
said no.
Yeah.
And it's more important to have that environment of I can do this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And that mental side. So I just heard about this study the other day. This was is it Charles Poliquin?
Yeah.
Um, he worked with a ton of Olympians. So they had this group of elite sprinters, and they split them into two groups. They didn't know they were being studied.
Hmm.
Um, so one group, they over like a course of several weeks, they shortened the 100 meters every like week or whatever.
Yeah.
So that group thought that they were getting faster. The other group, they lengthened it a little bit each time, so they thought they were getting slower. They did this over however many weeks. Then they tested them all on actual 100 meters. And the group that thought they were getting faster ran faster. The group that thought they were getting slower ran slower. And they did blood work. And the group that thought they were getting faster had elevated testosterone.
What?
They were
That is
physically
absolutely insane.
changing. And the other group had decreased because they thought they were
Uh-oh.
changing. So being in that environment, surrounded by people
Yeah.
saying like, "No, yeah, you can do this," and then saying like, "Yeah, I can do this. I'm gonna, I'm the kind of person who goes out and does a hike on a whim, and I'm the kind of person who squats in my cubicle." Like, that actually changes you. It does improve your gains. It changes your body, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
That's absolutely insane. So much, yeah. So much of just that positive attitude is pretty nuts. Now, what the heck was I? You got me off. I totally had
Community,
no.
everybody wanted to go out and do stuff.
Yeah, I think that phone call just messed me up. Were you able to hear that?
No.
Oh, well, yeah. I'm not sure. My phone is attached to my computer now, and I can't figure out how to detach it. But
Well,
go ahead.
transferring. I was thinking about Cam Hanes. You ever seen him?
No.
So he's a archery hunter. Well, actually, he has a normal 40 hour a week job, and also is an archery hunter, and that is like what he lives for is
Mhm.
hunting elk and deer and bears in the mountains. And so he lifts every day, and he runs like 10 to 30 miles a day,
Wow.
and like goes and does 200-mile ultra races, and it is all like very focused. His goal is hunting. It is being able to hike in and pack out a like hundreds of pounds of elk meat when he needs to. And so
Wow.
he has that focused goal, and so everything he's doing is transferring to that goal. And I think that helps. I mean, I think that you and I, both have the very solid mentality of like, I want to be able to do anything.
Hmm.
Not everyone's like that. And so it is helpful to have a goal, like just understanding yourself and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
Right. So that you can actually measure, like, am I seeing the transference from training to my goal of what I want to be doing?
Yeah. Now, how would you test?
Well, it depends on what you want to do.
Yeah.
Are you getting better at that thing? Are you able to do it as often? So, like out here, ski season is what people live for,
Right.
right? So, am I squatting so much that my knees are aching? Or am I doing stuff to support my knees and build them up and relieve pain and release pressure?
Right.
Or ankles and hips, your
Yeah.
back for, hiking.
Or even just handle the pressure.
Right, right.
Yeah. I think that's the cool thing about CrossFit is we're doing so many different things, right? But they will translate, whether it's core strength or stability at your knees, right? When we're squatting, when we're deadlifting, finding these things that are going to transfer over, and it's it's nice because you don't have to train for the test, and because if you're training for the test, did you actually get better, or did you just game it?
Right. Are you better at the test or are you actually improved?
Absolutely. And so, yeah, if you might have. I mean, how many times did you in high school you crammed? You didn't really learn much, but you did memorize a formula. You memorized like these specific answers, and then now you might recall them now, but most of them you don't. And now you just got better at that test. It would be the same thing if you were training. Actually, even if you're just training for back squat, and you're going to work on back squat, everything is going to be for that back squat. But if you can sit in, let's say, 90% of your max all the time, holy crap! Like you just did pretty darn good. It's like that's like learning the information just instead of just cramming. And now what?
Right. Yeah. And even, like, what are you training for? Like we were talking about Montana,
Mm-hmm.
right? That climb up that staircase for however long it was brutal.
Probably
And
30 miles, I would assume.
at least. And I mean, like, I've experienced it out here. Like, so then the question is, if that's your goal, is hiking. I'm going to climb 14ers, and I need to be able to go up these steps for, like 15 miles. Okay, how much do you need to be able to squat or lunge in order to, build up that strength?
Mm-hmm.
And like, yes, getting stronger is going to help, but like, how much stronger do you have to get? Like you said, like, do you need to be focusing on a back squat specific program in order to get the strength for that? Like, not necessarily. And that's probably going to, now you've shifted your goal to back squat versus hiking.
Right. And actually, that takes us back to CrossFit, right? Like, so just in the methodology, it's increased work capacity against time and modal domains, right? So it's not just better at this thing. We should be increasing in agility, in endurance, in coordination. And lots of times when we are specializing and all you're doing is back squatting, we're losing in these other things. And, we like to blur the line between endurance and strength. And so in those workouts, you're able to test these things, doing them hard and fast. And that's going to lend you to do more things out in life than if you are just focused. Even if you were just running, just running, might not get you the strength, because now, like, we'll go to the opposite end, right? Now you got to pack. Now you've got all the stuff. Maybe I don't have the strength. I have the muscle endurance, but not the strength.
Yep.
Even though it doesn't necessarily take a ton of strength to do this walk. So finding that balance and getting outside and doing that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's the test.
Yep. Actually, I think that you were talking about the one time we were just talking about with nutrition, that those hard days, that's the test. You know, lots of times people are like, well, this will be, easier. I can stay on my nutrition like Monday through Friday or for a month. But then, oh, my schedule changed, or we had a baby, or I've got, I'm traveling for work. And it's like, yeah, those are the times that matter. Like, this is where you're prepping. And yeah, it's really easy with a nice easy barbell to lift a lot of weight. Actually, we have a few sandbags, and I like to tell people to pick them up every now and then. And I saw multiple people. Actually, I was giving a challenge to anybody who could carry the one across the gym, and there were people who could deadlift more, so they could pick up more weight and significantly more, that couldn't pick up this sandbag, which was probably like 50%, maybe like 60% of their deadlift. And then these other people who this bag was, maybe 75 to 80%, and they rip this bag off the floor and throw it on their shoulder, and they move it across the gym. And it was, and actually those people were usually like, so they did construction, or they did these other things where it's very applicable because they're doing these hard things very often.
Totally. Man, sandbags. There's a gym nearby who does Julian Pinot's programming like
Yeah.
2 or 3 days a week.
Yeah.
And I've dropped in a few times, and it's like warm-ups, sandbag, bear hug squats. I'm like, oh, man.
Yeah.
Or, have you ever done get-ups?
With a sandbag?
Yeah.
I haven't done it with super heavy, but I.
Well, actually, like a heavy bag, like a boxing heavy bag.
Oh yeah.
Using that,
Heck yeah.
that's brutal.
Absolutely, and totally transferable.
Yep.
Picking up kids, picking up, whatever, and yeah, and it's lending you to be able to do the things outside.
Totally.
Well, yeah. What kind of things are? What are the biggest activities that you want to do outside for the longest time?
I think being able to just jump into a pickup game is pretty high up there.
Now, do you have any pickup game, or do you have any specific?
Anything.
Yeah.
Basketball, baseball, spike ball.
I'll tell you what, I was just talking about this the other day. What would you say is the best pickup game on the planet?
I mean, in what respect? I don't know.
I'd
say ultimate frisbee.
False. Wrong. Best pickup game on the planet is 21. So not only is it, dude. So number one, name somebody who doesn't want to play when you say, yeah, let's play 21. All right, because you could play like 3-on-3, you could play all these things, but 21, you don't necessarily have to play defense if you don't want to. You can cherry pick, or you can go the opposite route and you can just be all over the place, and so you can do as much or as little as you want. You're still part of the game, and everybody else, like, I don't know, I feel like it's almost like the fairest. If you do like 3-on-3 baseball,
how many people you need,
right?
Which I can see. That's kind of like in soccer, you play World Cup. It's kind of the same thing.
All
where
right.
it's
I've never played that,
if you score
but I
a
bet
goal,
it's worse.
so it's like every man for himself,
Yeah.
and if you score a goal, then you're out, and then the last person to score a goal, they're out, and everyone's back in, and you go all the way down until there's one person left.
See, it's already worse because people have to sit out.
Well, you could also play like first one to 2 goals. Or
Don't
first
try
one
and
to-
make it better. Look, that game sucks, and 21 is the best pickup game that you can play, bar none.
I can see why you're saying that. Disagree about.
Yes.
So I said ultimate frisbee.
Yeah.
It is more intense because you need more people. I was thinking as far as like athletic ability.
Mm-hmm.
Like ultimate frisbee, the accuracy, like being able to throw, and more importantly, being able to catch, and being able to catch like being defended, because you can't run with the frisbee, so you're only running when you don't have it. So you're running to get open, which is totally different than like if you have the ball in football and you're trying to like run past people
Yeah.
versus trying to get open for someone to throw it to you, and then once they throw it, catching it with someone defending you. I feel like there's a lot of like side to side, a lot of twisting and jumping. I feel like it's the most diverse in movement.
All right. It might be the most diverse. And what'd you say?
I'd say basketball is very close to you, or handball. I wish that was more popular.
Like team handball? Yeah, that was a fun game. I only played it a little bit in gym class when I was. I got the gym award. I don't know if anybody knows that, but yeah. So, pretty big deal. I'm not sure how I got it, but I think it was because I was the only one in school that took it every semester.
You're the only person who the gym teacher knew their name?
Yep.
Do you put that in the signature of your emails?
I am going to put that. Gym champion. I was also intramural badminton champion, if anybody was wondering. But yeah, and that's how I started using my fitness outside the gym, getting active. It started way back then. But yeah, you guys, get active. Find something that you like to do. Test yourself. I think that is one of the most important things when you are exercising, to keep it fun. Go do your exercise. Have fun at the gym. And then make sure that you're getting out there. I think that's one thing that I did not do for a while. It was just like so focused on being in the gym, whether it was like to punish myself, like, oh, I need to lose weight, or I need to be stronger. And it was like I felt bad if I wasn't in there. But
or even like person of like, I see these people are getting stronger. I need to be on the same level.
Yeah. But now, man, every time that I go out to, a park or whatever, and I can still do the monkey bars. I can do like a rollover. Man, and actually, man, we've got a whole gym full of people, 30 plus, who are doing skin the cats. And it's like, that is the coolest thing. And yeah, everybody worked slowly to do it. And people are doing these things that would lots of times limit you. And we're going to live limitless. Limitless. Boom. Hashtag. You heard it here. Hashtag limitless.
I'm pretty sure you're the first person to ever use that hashtag.
Yep. So I just made it up. I made up the word. But yeah, get outside, use your fitness, have fun in the gym. And then what's that?
And outside.
And outside. Yeah, use those last bits of summer that we've got.
Yes.
All right, you guys, we're gonna see you next week, Tuesday, 12 o'clock, for Do That But Better. Talk to you soon.